Hello, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Um, Last night was the Feast of the Passover, which we celebrated here in my household. And I do hope those of you who follow the Hebrew religion with us, I do hope the Igbo people who have realized that we are Hebrews also did this celebration as well. Now, why is this important? Unfortunately, a lot of people last week celebrated the Easter. I don't know why people will make out time to celebrate Easter, which has no biblical basis whatsoever. But they will not celebrate the Passover, which falls almost about the same time, and which was actually commanded by the Most High for us to celebrate it in the Bible, which they carry around all the time. Now, why do we celebrate this feast of the Passover? If you go to the Bible, if you go to the book of Exodus, chapter 12, this was the first command that the Most High gave our ancestors, our ancient Igbo people, the Hebrew people. This was the first command that the Most High gave our ancestors to do. Before our ancestors left the land of Egypt, after we've been enslaved for over 200 years, the Most High called Moses and Aaron, and he gave them a commandment on how we are supposed to coordinate ourselves as a nation when we live in the land that he has promised us, which is today called the Promised Land. And that can be found in the book of Exodus, chapter 12. And in that book, if you read from verse 1 of that chapter, the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Now, you recall that when we lived in the land of Egypt, we were subject to their calendar. The Egyptian calendar and the Hebrew calendar are not the same. Actually, the Egyptian calendar is very similar to the Gregorian calendar. Okay, so we were actually living out of course with the Most High calendar while we were in Egypt, just like we are doing now under this Gregorian and Julian Roman calendar we're living through. The Most High now told Moses and Aaron that this particular month, which is the month we are in now, should be the first month. You remember, the Most High did not name the months. There's no such thing as April under the eyes of the Most High. There's no such thing as March. So he numbered them. There's the first month to the 12th month. So he told them actually the first month of the year. And he told them that this should be the first month that they should use. And then he went further to tell them the feast, the Passover feast that they should celebrate to commemorate their leaving the land of Egypt. He told them what to do and how to celebrate it. Let's now look at what he said here. So the Most High wants us to have a Passover lamb, which is either a goat or a sheep, and that we should kill that in the evening. And this is exactly what my family did last night. And then we eat it in a way. They say we shouldn't boil it or eat it raw. We should eat it, roast it with fire, and then eat it with bitter herbs. If you watch our video, which we explained that the Igbo people are the Hebrews of the Bible, we mentioned that the meal that we eat with bitter herbs is actually called nkwobi. That's exactly what we prepared last night and ate for the Passover. And that's exactly what any Igbo person that wants to follow the worship of the Most High should prepare and eat. And in verse 9 of Exodus chapter 12, he said, "Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast it with fire, the head, his head and his legs, and the purtenance thereof. And shall let nothing of it remain until the morning." So this is not a meal that you just keep in your refrigerator and keep eating. No. Once you eat that, whatever is left of the goat, no matter how big, no matter how small, you should burn it with fire. Because this is a Passover lamb. It's not a ritual sacrifice where you go and be. No, this is a Passover meal. But I want to draw your attention to what the Most High said here. He said we should eat it with bitter herbs. In verse 8, you should eat it with bitter herbs. And the Igbo people for hundreds or thousands of years have been eating a roasted goat meat with bitter herbs, which we call unkobi. We eat it every day and we enjoy it. And this is the biblical proof that the Most High told us to do this on the Passover. Though we've been doing it ignorantly without knowing that this is a biblical command, it is important here for us to see that in Exodus chapter 12 verse 8, the Most High said we should eat it, and that's the origin of that meal which we still enjoy in Igbo land. So a number of people will say that the Passover and killing the goat and all the celebration is not feasible in the modern world, that we currently live under grace, and so all these rituals of the Old Testament is no longer needed. Well, I don't know the grace those people are living under. I do know the difficulties of doing some of these things when you live in an urban environment. But if you do plan for it like we have been planning for some days now, you can still celebrate it with ease. Let's look at what the Most High told us in the book of Exodus. If you look at Exodus 12 verse 14, he said, "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever." The Most High told us we should keep this feast forever. He didn't say we should keep it until the New Testament comes up, or until Paul comes up and say we are living under grace. He said we should keep it a feast forever. Now, for people who are not Hebrews, they don't have to do this. But if you are Hebrew, if you are Igbo, or if you are a Negro that has been sold to slavery, you have to. Because Psalm 147 verse 19 says that he showed his judgment to Jacob, his statute to the Hebrews. He has not done so with other nations, and as for his judgment, they have not known it. It is our responsibility as Hebrews to keep this Passover. This is an agreement, a covenant our ancestors had with the Most High of heaven, the God of heaven, the Most High of majesty. It's our responsibility to keep it. So our people, thousands, if millions of our people were celebrating Easter last week. Ignorantly, they didn't know that Easter is actually the name of the goddess of the Babylonian. And they were doing the Easter bunnies, Easter egg. I mean, when I was a child, there was no such thing as association of Easters and eggs. But gradually, they've been revealing this thing to us. Gradually, they've been externalizing this Babylonian worship to us to such an extent that nobody questions them anymore. We just do Babylonian rituals, and we say that the Most High's own way of sacrifice is too difficult and too impractical. But the Easter bunny and Easter egg, that is not difficult to keep. It's the Most High that's clearly stated in the Bible that we carry around. That's the one that we say is very impractical to keep. So we should be very conscious of what we do. As Hebrews, we are not supposed to go in the ways of the heathen. We are supposed to follow what the Most High told us to do. And this Feast of Passover not only proves that the Igbo people are the Hebrews, it also presents an excellent opportunity to follow the rules of the Most High. From in verse 14, like I said, the Most High said, this should be a feast forever. Then in verse 15 it said, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. The next day after the Passover is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is today. For those of you who missed the Passover, it's important that you follow that feast as well, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So you should take out anything that is leavened in your house, and this includes cookies, cakes, and whatever. The only thing you should have in your house should be unleavened bread, and you should eat that for dinner for the next 7 days until the 21st of this month. Of these current biblical months that we are in, that's the next 7 days. The first day of this Feast of Unleavened Bread is a holy day, which is today. Today is actually a Sabbath, even though it's not, it's in the Gregorian calendar is Sunday, but it's actually a Sabbath because it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread, even though it's the first day of the week. So today is a holy day which you celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then for the next 7 days you eat unleavened bread in the evenings. You can eat whatever else you want. However, in the evenings you eat unleavened bread, and you must not eat any other loaf of bread or leavened bread. You shouldn't even have it in your habitation. This is clearly commanded to us in the book of Exodus chapter 12 verse 17, where it clearly stated for us there. And all the way to verse 20. And the Most High said that we should do this in all our habitation, wherever we live. It doesn't matter where you live. We should do this for all our generation. It's important that the Igbo people listening to this take out time to do this, because we are the people of the covenant. And like we mentioned, that covenant is still valid. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of the Passover, is a must for us. And it's something that we have to keep. We don't have to keep the Easter feasts. We don't have to be celebrating Easter because we are not Babylonians, we are Hebrews. Let the heathens do what they do. Let the Romans do what they do. What we do is the Passover. Now, some of you may be shocked to realize that this Passover was clearly kept by the Igbo ancestors. If you go home and ask the old people in your ancient of days, the old people in your villages, they will tell you this. There are feasts, Igbo feasts, that are celebrated by this period, and they are celebrated for a week, a full week, 7-day period, which is like 2 Igbo weeks. So we in a future video, we'll make a detail of this feast, which is actually Passover, that the Igbos do. Unfortunately, like we've mentioned in most of our videos, these things are now being done to idols. But if you look at our Igbo feasts that we currently have in Igbo land, you see vestiges of biblical practices. Even though they are currently being done to idols, they have biblical origins. And that is what we do in our congregation to return to the worship of our God, to bring back this tradition to the worship of the God of Abraham. May the Most High of heaven bless us in our quest to come back to Him. Selah.